Welcome yet again to another experience that you can't define, articulate, or explain, but you can only live this through one that's conveying the message to you. Ice Turner Sr. I had a thought, just, in a moment of, just reflecting on things and, realizing that, we all have a tendency to say, I did this, I did that, I was the first person to do this, and all that stuff, right? But, failing to realize that, as humans, we're only a sum total of our influences, as well as our beliefs. That's what creates our system, makes us systematic in, how we go about things and how we do things, and, reflecting back, was able to kind of tap into the time when, I was a child and, only wanted to be around my father, and I got good grades in school and, and people would assume that there were some type of behavioral issues, a lot of people would assume that, and eventually my grandfather figured out what it was. I was basically just acting out. I can do the work, but I acted out because I wanted to get out of school just to be around, my dad, my uncles, friends of the family, because I enjoyed, learning, how life works, just through them. You learn just through their behavior, how they went about things. My father, was a very incredible man to me, and I've shared that sentiment, with him, earlier today, explain why, because a lot of what I am, derives from him as far as the God-given abilities. He was a guy that was really smooth, was very charismatic, he could talk you, how to close on your back, as well as have you jump into, a shark-infested, ocean, and cause you to believe that you can actually, go through the entire course unscathed, And he was a guy that was good with his words. He was good at, making money. He was good at, just taking care of things, as well as, my uncles, and friends of my family, And plus, I seen him in those moments where there were difficult, times. It's kind of like that movie in the Pursuit of Happiness, right? Remember when the character that Will Smith was playing, whereas he was going through hardship, and the little boy was looking into his eyes to see how he was going to handle things, if he was going to crumble, if he was going to break or fold, because it's like, man, if he falls apart, then I'm going to fall apart. And, what good am I? This guy's my hero. I've seen him in, various circumstances, in moments of, I would say, difficulty, and, situations where things have just went completely left. And I've watched him, and, paid attention to, the body language and, as well as his tone of voice and his eye gait, and seeing how, he handled situations, and, he always took care of things. You didn't, if he was sweating, I'm sure he felt those moments of weakness, but you wouldn't know it. It was a man that, loved, a good piece of jewelry, liked to keep his hair cut, liked to keep, money in his pocket, and he took care of, the neighborhood, people that loved him and there's people that hated him, he was a legend. My older brothers had benefit from that, as well as I, in his ways that, we've we can't really fill in those shoes, to be perfectly honest with you. But he really just showed us, the way of life, and, what's really important, as well as, the other people that have influenced my life. And, I didn't really watch too much television growing up. It was a couple of shows, MacGyver, just, how he solved problems and, his ability to be, able to show ingenuity, able to put things together. Then, you got Mr. Wizard, the science, it's a lot of things that really come together,